Happy New Year! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Erica. I am. You are tuned into the Bachelorette Diaries, and here we are alive in love. One of my very favorite hashtags is live in love, and that's because I want to encourage everybody constantly, whether it's brotherly love, sisterly love, romantic love, love between you and your family, love between you and your co-workers, whatever it is, live in love. Even where strangers are concerned, live in love. And so although this specific portion of my channel is about romantic relationships, I want to encourage you to live in love in all ways. Love your work, love your art, love the things around you, and they will love you back. All right? Now, with that said, let's jump right into today's message. The title of today's video is, Are You the One? Are you? I know we spend a lot of time when you're single. Your focus is when you find the one. You know, your heart is on Mr. Right, Mrs. Right, and we consider that person the one. That's kind of like culture's slang for it. The one, your soulmate, that one individual that you will spend the rest of your earthly life with. So today I pose that question to you. Are you the one? Because see, I know that you may have a list. Because if you're anything like me, you started working on a list pretty much by the time you could read. So you have a list. You know what you prefer them to look like. You know what kind of income you'd like to see for them. You know probably where you want to live, how they should probably act, or, you know, different traits, different personality things that you know you have that you desire because maybe they're compatible with you, or maybe you see those things as something that could add to you, make you better, whatever. To each his own. But my point here is, I know you've put together a list, and if you don't physically have a list, you have an idea, because most human beings do. I mean, it's unorthodox for two people to get together and not know what they have in common, or if they even want to be with each other. And before you know if you want to be with somebody, you know what you're willing to tolerate. You know the things that really make you happy, those things that really add to your quality of life, and you know those things that you're just absolutely not trying to do or not trying to be a part of. And that builds an expectation. So in the building of your expectation, one of the things that us humans, we rarely ever stop to consider is the fact that birds of a feather flock together. And in the Bible, you know, it says, man leaves his mother and father to cleave unto his wife, and the two of them shall become one. Now, if the two of you are going to become one, and you have this long list of expectations for what you are wanting, shouldn't you be those things as well? That's the point I'm making today. So when I ask you, are you the one? That is what I mean. It's not all physical, because I'm sure you're gorgeous. I'm sure your body is right. I'm sure your mind is right. I'm sure you're educated, right? I'm sure you're successful. You're driven, right? You have your goals. You're ambitious. I'm sure you keep yourself together. But beyond that, are you all the things that you're expecting this other person to be? You're expecting them to have good credit, but you're spending your money recklessly. You're expecting them to have great people skills, but you're gossip and you're antisocial. So I want us to be very mindful and very careful when we're out here and we're single and we're experiencing life, especially with the hope or the desire to be in a relationship. Let's be real with ourselves. Are you what you want them to be? And of course, there are always going to be some differences. There are going to be some ways in which your spouse is better and they can teach you, and vice versa. But we can't go out expecting to be with someone and we don't fit the mold. In other words, you can't expect to have a good man if you're not willing to be a good woman. Because doesn't that good man deserve a good woman? And vice versa. As fellas, as gentlemen, you can't expect a woman to be devout and loyal to you if you're not loyal. So we have to begin to become the very things that we're asking for. I said in a previous video to believe in what you hope for. And I hope that you guys watched it and that it helped you, that it blessed you. But the overall goal of that message was for you to actually believe in the things that you're asking for or that you're seeking in life. Believe that you could actually have them. Believe that you are indeed good enough for them. That it can actually happen to someone from your family, from your background. And in the middle of that, I want you to also understand that as those good things happen to you, you adapt, you grow, you should be stretching, you should be evolving, you should be developing. And the point of all of the developing is because there will be some things and some people, some opportunities that come into your life that are going to deserve the highest quality of you. So when I tell you to believe in what you hope for, it's because I understand, because I recognize that the great things that God has for you deserves the greatest version of you. And I believe that is why God has given us all so many different talents. I believe that is why God calls us into seasons of waiting, even though it's frustrating, even though it can be lonely, even though it can be discouraging. God calls us into seasons of waiting because He's given us the opportunity to become what we're waiting for. When you're expecting your life to be improved and enriched by the introduction of a relationship, yet there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good desire. It's a desire I'm sure God smiles on. But at the same time, you can't expect the person to just come in and make you something that you're not. And I believe that's why a lot of relationships fail. Because if we're honest with ourselves, we pretend, we put on a mask, we emulate what we see other people doing instead of allowing God the time to mold and shape us into who we should be. And so instead of really learning to be the woman that you are, you try to be the woman that she is, and you brought that into a relationship with the man that he is, and he's not sure who he is because he's just trying to be what he saw somebody else be. And you wonder why it's not working, why it's strained, why you're stressed, why you're not going to sleep, why you're not getting along, because he wasn't the real him and you weren't the real you. So don't be so stressed out and discouraged because you're being told no or not right now, or you're being told to wait, stand still, not right now, in the future, eventually, someday. These are all words that we can grow to hate. But instead, accept them, appreciate them, applaud them, because that's one more day, one more hour, one more month that you get to grow, that you get to become. Because I can imagine what your list looks like. Because you're amazing. You're beautiful. You're talented. You're strong. Do you know how much you've overcome? Do you know how much you are still going to do? Do you know how good your heart is? How you genuinely want to see greatness happen for other people? How you're willing to give the clothes off your back? How you're willing to work until your fingers are gritted down to the bone? How you're willing to get dirty and then turn around and get fresh if you have to? I know how amazing you are. So I can only imagine the list of qualities that you have for your spouse. But let's not get so wrapped up into our greatness that we forget and neglect our weaknesses. Because let's admit it. Let's face it. You got attitude. You got a doubt problem. You got a negative self-talk problem. You got a consistency problem. See, we all have these issues that they may not be as visible as someone who doesn't shower, doesn't shave regularly. They may not be as potent as someone who has 7 or 8 children for 7 or 8 different people. They may not be as in your face as some of the other people's flaws. But when you're honest with yourself, when you're quiet with yourself, you're praying for someone to understand you and to accept you. But have you even taken the time to do that for yourself? And moreover, are you willing to do that for them? You want someone to love you, but are you willing to love? You want him to be there for you when your cycle is on and you're going through your mood swings and etc. But can you handle his? You want her to be Betty Homemaker and help you out and be there when you're sick and give birth to your kids, but are you a provider? Are you a nurturer? Are you present? So these are things we really have to consider. Because guess what? Your bankroll ain't all that. Anybody can go and get a bag. Anybody can go and get butt injections. Anybody can get a trainer and get a snatched waist. Anybody can build a home. Anybody can start a business. But what's on the inside? Are you willing to admit that maybe you're not as glorious as you could be and take the time to become? For me, 2019 was the year that God spoke over me and said, this is the year of becoming. Every year I pray for a word or for a vision for the year ahead. And last year my word was becoming. And in a lot of ways, I became a brand new individual. And I'm not taking credit for it because I didn't do it. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I have to look back and acknowledge that I was only able to become in 2019. Because in 2018 and 2017 and 2016 and 2015, I sat still. I did nothing. Well, I did a lot of things. Don't say I did nothing. I can't say I did nothing. But I stopped trying to be in control. I stopped thinking that I deserved it all. I stopped thinking that I could do it all and could have it all. I put my hands up and said, okay, God, what's your idea? And it was scary. It's been a dark couple of years. You can go back to my videos and hear some testimonies. I've seen some stuff. I've felt some pains. I've gone through some storms. I've lost some things and some people. But also, I was still enough for God to be able to do stuff. I was quiet long enough to hear his voice. I was still long enough for him to show up. And we pray, God, show up. God, give me this. God, do this. And God is not against that. But before he shows up, he wants to know, are you real about me? Are you really being honest with me? Because he knows. He knows. But free will is what helps you to lie when you go to him, or to avoid, or to evade. Free will. So you can say, oh, God knows my heart. Yeah, he does. And your heart is filthy too. So I want you to keep in mind this relationship, this life, this existence that you have here. Every good and perfect gift is from God. So you might as well be your most authentic self with him, because he can take what's ugly and make it great. He can take your ashes and give you beauty. He can take the darkness and give you light. I spent 4 years doing little odds and end jobs, getting paid in cash every now and then. Small lump sums, $10 per job kind of thing. Like, ridiculous. I had some glorious moments where I was able to get a couple $100s, but I also had weeks and months where I didn't see much at all. I had some seasons where I was completely alone. I had seasons where I felt like everything that I needed was so far away. And I'm not speaking of expensive trips or bags or shoes. I'm speaking of toiletries. I'm speaking of the food that, like when you try to maintain a certain, meal plan. Every now and then I try to eat like I got some sense. But the point I'm making here is I've experienced seasons where I had nothing, or where I couldn't get the things I thought I needed, or the things I thought I wanted. I've had seasons where it was dry. I've had seasons where I was alone. I've had seasons where I was sick and couldn't afford to be well. I've had seasons where there was nowhere to go, and if there was somewhere to go, I couldn't get there because I didn't have a car. But in those seasons, the one constant was that God was there. The breath that I was breathing came from him. The blood flowing through my veins was his. The voice coming through my mouth. It's amazing how in the midst of those seasons, I was able to encourage other people. I was able to make videos and write poetry and speak in front of audiences. And sometimes up until the moment I had to take the microphone, I was completely distraught or in a way. But God keeps showing up. And in 2019, he showed me that he was still with me, that he still had goodness for me, and he began to restore some things in my life. And so that's what I mean by I became different. The acclamation of everything that had been building up in me in those years of being still, I began to see fruit. It was all of a sudden I was in this place. All of a sudden I had a business. All of a sudden I bought a brand new car. All of a sudden things were happening. But if I'm real with myself, it wasn't all of a sudden. It had been building. Because God is a builder. He's the master builder. But we must be like putty in the palm of his hand. We can't go to him, I'm a mansion God, so make me beautiful. No, it doesn't work that way. You are a piece of clay, a lump of clay. Not even a piece. You're a lump. You must be molded. You must be dried out before you can even be used for anything. You can't even build anything right now. So let's be real with ourselves. Let's allow God to do the forming and the molding and the shaping so that we can do some of the becoming. So that when it's time and when we're face to face, not only will we be able to recognize the one, but you also will be the one. It's not enough to meet the perfect spouse. How amazing would it be to be an imperfectly perfect spouse? Because I believe we're all perfect for somebody. Even with our flaws. Your flaw is a specific flaw that somebody else is in love with. So that's why I say imperfectly perfect. But the point I'm making here is allow God to do the work. Be still. Be quiet. Be patient. And let him do it. Because once he does it, you will be the one. And when I ask you, are you the one? You'll be able to say, yes, child, I am. I am the one. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope it inspired you. I hope it encouraged you. But more than anything, I hope you see how important it is for you to commit to your own process. Nobody's going to do this for you. Can't nobody be you but you. And I don't want to see anybody else try, because you are the greatest you that I have ever seen, that earth, that life has ever seen. God makes no mistakes, and he made you. So that means it's not over yet. Become, grow, develop, so that at the right time, you can give the right answer to the right one. Take care of yourself.